Right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, there's nothing quite like baseball during the month of October, as each MLB playoff game is filled with excitement and intensity. And as we're in the midst of the divisional round right now, I really have a feeling that both of these LCS series, along with the World Series, are not going to disappoint either. But as exciting as each playoffs have been, you have to wonder about that ominous dark cloud that is hanging over the sport. And that dark cloud is the potential for a work stoppage after next season, which could hinder the 2027 season. Now, the MLB team owners want a salary cap, and the MLBPA has basically responded by saying hell no to the idea. Now, yes, I get it that we are still in 2025, but 2027 will be here quicker than you might think. And I don't believe that most people understand what is potentially coming to Major League Baseball. Now, after the 2021 season, the owners did lock out the players, and MLB was barely able to save their 2022 season in order to get a full 162 game slate for the regular season, along with a full postseason. But something just seems different this time around, as I truly do feel that the disconnect between the players and owners has grown bigger since then, as you've had some owners who, not too long after the current CBA was agreed to, they were basically complaining about it. Okay. And again, the owners want a salary cap. Okay. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And the union doesn't want to agree to it. And to that, I really do say buckle up, because this is going to be MLB's version of a game of chicken. Now, I understand the business side of things and for both the players and owners, all right? But, and I've said this before and I'll bring it up again, why would the owners want to flirt with damaging the popularity of their game? Because October is a great month for baseball. Okay, I've said that before and I'll say it again. But even with that, MLB still has to compete with the NFL, which, at this point, their season is really starting to ramp up. Same thing for college football. And then the start of both the NHL as well as NBA seasons. But through all of that, baseball has still been able to carve out a niche as fans continue to pack the parks, as well as watching on television. And, after a decline, if you will, in popularity, baseball is starting to trend upwards again. And I've said this before, and I will continue to say this. Major League Baseball really doesn't want to flirt with going down that road again. I truly get it. The finances, they're the centerpiece of the owner's argument, especially the small market owners. Okay. But at the end of the day, I say, why tinker with the sauce? Because those small market owners are still getting a lot of money from the luxury tax from the big market teams that are willing to go above the luxury tax. Okay. Now, the bulk of the small market team owners, they're going to gripe about the competitive balance aspect, this, that, and the third. But just because you are willing to spend money, it doesn't mean that you're going to win. Just look at this year's edition of the New York Mets. I mean, they spent more money than any other team in MLB history. And what do they get for it? They're watching the postseason at home like you and I are. And the Mets still are going to be hit with that big luxury tax bill. And of course, on the flip side, I say, just because you're a small market team doesn't mean that you can't compete. There are some small market teams that don't try, but then there are some small market teams that do try. Look at the Milwaukee Brewers. If they win today, okay, they're going to the NLCS, and we're talking about a team that, looks like they're going to once again be a tough out in the postseason. Now, many in MLB's current ownership room, they weren't around in 1994 when we had the strike. Okay, and therefore, I really don't think that they understand the impact of a potential work stoppage and no World Series that October. And you just think about how long it took baseball to get some fans back. And even though that baseball turned their back on the steroid era at some point, what McGuire and Sosa did in 1998 really helped to get people back into the parks. This time around, if something like that happens in Major League Baseball, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to recover from that because, in my opinion, the NFL and NBA have already surpassed them in popularity. Now, I've talked about this before, and I know some people are like, well, you know what? We're going to have baseball in 2027. I'm not hopeful. I'm really not hopeful. And the reason is because both sides are very dug in on their stances. And I know there's still time, yes. And, of course, when it gets closer to the potential of not having games, maybe both sides will talk more. Maybe both sides will try to find, some common ground, this, that, or the third. I'm not sure. There's a huge distrust for the players with MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred. Also, there's a lot of distrust from the players with the owners, and of course, the owners are stuck in or dug in on their stance as far as wanting that salary cap. My thing is this, like I've said before, I know people who feel like, you know what, MLB does need a salary cap, and I respect their opinion on that. My opinion is that I feel like MLB does not. I know that some people are saying, well, the big market teams can't keep up when it's time to pay their guys. Some of the star players, some of the superstar players, I totally get it. But still, some of the teams we've seen them get very creative as far as being able to pay their guys. I take a Kansas City Royals for an example of what they've done with a Bobby Witt Jr., the Seattle Mariners with a Julio Rodriguez, the San Diego Padres with a Fernando Tatis Jr. All of this I'm talking about, they're giving these guys 10 plus year deals in their early 20s. Okay. And again, if you want it bad enough, you're going to find a way and you're going to find a way, a workaround, if you will, to deal with free agency. And it's going to be the same way if MLB were to implement the salary cap. And the reason why I say it is this: the teams that want to win, or should I say the teams that are willing to spend money, are going to find a way around it. But nonetheless, I can't say this enough. October baseball is galvanizing. And I really, truly hope that the power brokers of Major League Baseball understand that and they don't want to take away from this because I hate to be a Debbie Downer on this, but there's also the possibility we don't have baseball at all for 2027. There's a lot of different ways that this thing can swing. They're nowhere close on a resolution at this point. They're not going to be close for quite some time, and of course, they're really not talking right now. And of course, once they get closer to that deadline, we have to wait and see. But nonetheless, again, October baseball is extremely special. We're seeing that excitement in so many MLB teams around baseball right now. You look at how the fans have reacted so far in Toronto, in Milwaukee, in Chicago, in Cleveland, in Detroit. So many postseason cities, okay? The expanded postseason, the excitement that it brought to a lot of others, like a lot of cities around baseball where the teams would have historically been out of it. You look at the Cincinnati Reds. Okay, I think it was big for them to get to the postseason this year, in spite of the fact that they were one and done. And there's other cases like that. And, we still have a possibility where we could see a team in this playoffs who's either never won before, never been to the World Series, or has not won the World Series in quite some time. You look at the Toronto Blue Jays. They haven't won the World Series in more than 30 years. You look at the Milwaukee Brewers. They haven't been to the World Series in more than 40 years. You look at the Seattle Mariners. They've never been to the World Series. Okay. And all of these teams, along with the others, have a golden opportunity to do something. It's one of those where MLB might want to complain about the salary cap, but with the luxury tax penalties, it's really changed already how teams approach things. And I mean, listen, you want to talk about parity? We have not had a repeat World Series champion in nearly 25 years or 25 years exactly. You've got to go back to the New York Yankees of 2000 to find the last time that we've had a repeat champion. I know that the Houston Astros made consecutive World Series a couple of years ago, but nonetheless, they didn't win both of them. Okay, I know that the Phillies got their two consecutive years in 2008 and 2009, but they didn't win both of them. Okay, and I think this is showing how different that things are. I think the closest thing that we maybe could say that we have to a dynasty in baseball, and it's not even a dynasty, would be the Dodgers. The Dodgers have four trips to the World Series since 2017. They have two World Series championships this decade, but nonetheless, it's still very hard because parity right now is really the king of baseball. Again, I just feel the owners really shouldn't tinker with the sauce. And I don't want to sound like a broken record on this thing, and I really hope that they don't. Again, October baseball is special, and I just hope that the power brokers of the game realize that and respect it. But, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw in this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. Like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check us out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. And the same goes for Instagram, where you can check us out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you're on Facebook, be sure to check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.